Right. Do me a favor. If you don't have it up in front of you right now, please pull up the document that I uploaded to the classroom tab this week that's labeled some commonly used phrases. Um, Pause this, pull that up. Okay. Assuming that you've done that, please glance down the following list with me. If you or someone you know has recently said, heard, one of these phrases, sort of put a check mark in your mind about it. All that glitters is not gold. If you have said that, or somebody you know has, yeah, congratulations, you're quoting Shakespeare, from The Merchant of Venice, to be precise. If you thought, well, all's well that ends well, well, that isn't even like a line of Shakespeare. That's just a title. You're saying a title out loud. If you thought, well, as luck would have it, or as good luck would have it, that's from Merry Wives of Windsor. If you've ever waited with or on bated breath, that's from The Merchant of Venice. If you've ever sought to be the be-all and end-all, that is from Macbeth. If you've been in a situation and wanted to put, your, quote, best foot forward, that is a quote from King John. If you have been in an awkward situation, didn't know what to say, and you sought to, quote, break the ice, that is from Taming of the Shrew. If you've refused to budge an inch, that's from Measure for Measure. Here, let me get you all at once. If you've ever said, I've caught a cold, that is quoting from the play Cymbeline. Cymbeline, for God's sakes, a play that nobody has ever read, and yet you still quote from it all the time. If you ever thought, well, come what may, that's from Macbeth. If you've ever described something as being dead as a doornail, that is Henry VI, Part 2. If you ever had some jerk come over to your house and, quote, eat you out of house and home, that is from Henry IV, Part 2. If you've been in a tight space and wanted, elbow room, that's from King John. If you've ever been faint-hearted, that is from Henry VI, Part 1. If you've ever thought that something was taking, like this right now, forever and a day, that is from As You Like It. For goodness sake, the phrase for goodness sake comes from Henry VIII. If you've ever described something as a foregone conclusion, that is Othello. If you've ever said that something's come full circle, that is King Lear. If you thought, well, the game's up, that is, again, from Cymbeline. If you've ever sought to give the devil his due, you are not quoting the Bible, you are quoting from Henry IV, Part 1. If you've ever said good riddance to something, you are quoting from the play Troilus and Cressida, which is Troy with a better script. If you've ever, described somebody as having a heart of gold, that's from Henry V. If you've ever been in a sticky situation, described yourself as being in a bit of a pickle, that is from The Tempest. If you've ever sought to kill someone with kindness, that is from The Taming of the Shrew. If you have ever been, I hope not, a laughingstock, that is The Merry Wives of Windsor. If you've thought that love is blind, that is from Merchant of Venice. If you've ever had your keys, disappear, that they melted into thin air, that is The Tempest. If last night you slept not one wink, that is from Cymbeline. Again, Cymbeline, for God's sakes. If you've ever had somebody play fast and loose with the truth, that is from King John. If you've ever sought to tell the truth and shame the devil, that is, again, not the Bible, it is Henry IV, Part 1. If you've ever had too much of a good thing, that's As You Like It. If you've worn your heart upon your sleeve, that is Othello. If you've ever said, well, what's done is done, that is from Macbeth. If you've ever gone on a wild goose chase, that is from Romeo and Juliet. And yeah, again, let me hit you all at once. If you've ever told a joke that begins, knock knock, who's there? You're quoting from Shakespeare, whether you know it or not. So yeah, I put this list in front of you because most of the time when I teach Shakespeare or talk about him, like the look in people's eyes, they just die, the fire. It's like, well, time to turn my brain off for a while. But here's the thing, I get it. A lot of people don't like Shakespeare, and I understand some of the reasons why, and I asked you on the discussion board to give me perhaps your reasons why you either or you think other people might not appreciate Mr. Shakespeare. But the thing is, he is the single most important playwright in all of human history. The works of Shakespeare are the most influential. They cast a really long shadow. They influence and impact everything that you like. It influences the way that we behave, the way that we think, the way that we talk to one another. After all, for some of you who say you hate him, you walk around quoting his ass all the time, so, you might as well understand who he is a bit better. My promise to you is this. As we talk through Mr. Shakespeare, who he is, and what he did over the next week or so, You don't have to watch any, you don't have to read any, you just have to listen to me, who is smart and cool, talk about this thing that I love for a good bit so you have a better understanding. I don't require you to like anything that we talk about in class, but I do require that you understand why it's important, whether you like it or not. And that's the thing. There is no getting around it. Shakespeare is important, the single most important thing in all of theater, probably. So, whether you like it or not, yeah, we're going to talk about him, and I will try and make it as painless as possible. So, yeah, let's just dive in.